All right. 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 How many all rights was that? Somebody tell me down below. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Pete, but you probably already knew that. But in case you didn't, you guys are watching the one, the only, the PTD Vlogs, day number 575, a channel that is the second side channel to Pay to Drive, where I talk about some delivery stuff, but I also talk about personal stuff, because lately I'm getting a lot of flack that you're not talking about enough delivery stuff. This is my vlog where I talk about everything. So, with that being said, let's move forward. So, as you saw in the thumbnail, the Jeep was towed to the mechanic today. It was done during the afternoon, so I don't know why I mentioned that, but I guess it was relevant. So, it was 13 miles from my apartment to the mechanic. So keep that in mind before I jump into anything else. So anyway, let me walk you through the whole thing. I call AAA. I arrange for the tow. I wait for the tow. The guy comes here with the flatbed, and the Jeep was completely dead. The battery was completely dead once again. So I tell him, yeah, we're going to have to use the booster box to jump it. So he attaches the booster box, and he tells me to start it. But I already know. I'm like, oh, well, the engine, I think, is shot, because on Friday, the AAA driver that came did the same exact thing with a booster box, and it just would not turn over. It just wouldn't start. It would just click, click, click. So today, he attaches the booster box, you know. I go to start it. Fucking starts right up. It starts right up. And I'm just like bewildered. My eyeballs almost popped out of my head. And I said, wait a minute. What the hell? No idea how it started. But I checked the coolant, because I told you guys it was overheating a lot. There was zero coolant. And I dumped like an entire bottle of coolant, like 3/4 of a bottle of coolant, like 2 weeks ago into there. So that's a huge problem. A lot of people are thinking it's the thermostat now. So I say to the driver, like, I don't understand. The car didn't start on Friday. He goes, well, you're lucky it starts now. He goes, at least you know the engine isn't seized. So that's a huge relief, right? At least I don't necessarily have to replace the engine so far. So he goes, do you still want the tow, or do you want to drive it? I said, no. You're here. I'd rather just you tow it, because I don't want it to overheat. So we loaded onto the truck. I took the picture that you saw in the thumbnail, and we head to the mechanic. So it's like a good 25-minute drive, and I'm glad that we definitely decided to take the tow truck or the flatbed. We get to the mechanic. We unload the Jeep, and the driver leaves. I give him a $20 tip, because, you know, the guy came a long distance. So always tip your tow truck drivers, because, you know, if you ever get them again, they'll give you top-notch service. And I've dealt with this guy before, and he was always good. So anyway, I end up talking with my mechanic, and he's like, so what's the deal? So I explained to him exactly what I just explained to you guys. And he's like, wow, that's interesting. And I said, I don't know what's going on. Things have just been going wrong with this thing left and right over the past 3 months. He goes, why? What else happened? I said, well, my remote start. I had an aftermarket remote starter that I bought when I bought the truck used. And he's like, where's the remote? I said, well, it actually cracked off right shortly after it stopped remote starting, and it wouldn't turn on anymore, like with the remote starter. He goes, that's really interesting. He goes, because when an aftermarket remote starter goes bad, it could put strain on the battery, like because I used to always try and hit the double star to remote start the Jeep, and the lights would flash, but it wouldn't turn over, it wouldn't start. So I think something is mechanically or electronically wrong in the computer or whatever, where it thinks like the remote starter is still trying to start the Jeep. So it's like, it almost is like putting power on the battery and draining the battery, which kind of makes sense. So he's like, we'll replace it, put it back to factory settings. You know, we'll get the original OEM parts for the starter, so that, you know, you take the aftermarket one out. He goes, that should fix the battery issue. And he's like, as far as the overheating issue is concerned, he goes, that could be the thermostat. And I don't really know, like I said, I don't really know a whole lot about the mechanics of an engine, you know, on a car. But my father even thought it was the thermostat. So at this point, he's like, leave it overnight. you know, he's like, if we get a chance to look at it this afternoon before we close up, I will, and I'll call you. But if not, you know, maybe tomorrow or the next day, you know, we'll give you an update about what's going on. And I said, well, is it going to be really, really pricey? And because they're basically family friends. We've been, you know, my family's been going to them for like 15 years or something like that, maybe even longer. I don't even know. He's like, you know, it's a father and son. So I was talking to the son. The father runs the place, and the son is like the head mechanic. And he's like, you know, my father will always take care of you and everything. I said, yeah, all right, no problem. He goes, it shouldn't be too bad. So when they say it shouldn't be too bad, it's usually under $1,000. You know what I mean? So that's a huge relief. And if it only costs me about $1,000 to fix, I feel like it's worth it, in my opinion, because there's nothing wrong with that truck. It has 117,000 miles on it, and I've literally babied it. I've done work to it. Like, there's no reason for it to you know, be junked. At least not yet. So this is all I know up to this point. For everybody in the chat, I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are on this whole thing. Do you think that this is, you know, more of an issue than what we're thinking? Let's do this. Put your predictions as to what you think it is now that you know all of this stuff about the remote starter going bad, the thermostat possibly being the issue, why the engine is while the coolant is being all sucked up and evaporated. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm just curious to see what you guys think about it. And like I said in the beginning of this video, guys, my vlog channel, like I said, is to talk about delivery stuff sometimes, but it's also to talk about personal stuff. So I've been getting comments about it. Other people have been talking to me about it. Like, it's just like, this is what it's meant for. You know what I mean? It's meant for me to vent about what's on my mind. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. And I understand if that's not for everyone, you know, totally understand, but I just figured I'd give a disclaimer. So that's my comment question of the day. What do you guys think now that what we know now? What do you think it is? Because I know we have a lot of gearheads that watch on here and have been giving me a lot of great suggestions. So thank you to everybody, especially like Trini in DC and a few others. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. Do we have Trini in the chat? Yes, no, but anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. I really appreciate all of your support, as always, helping me grow these channels and staying by my side. I greatly appreciate it. And that's it. So on that note, everybody, get that money, get that honey, keep hustling, keep bustling, and I'll see you guys next time right here on the PTD Vlogs. All right, everybody, and if you enjoyed the video, slap that like button down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. Let's see if we can go for 50 likes. Until next time, stay safe, get that money, and be kind to each other, and just keep that positivity flowing and growing. Peace.